name's David, and this evening I'm running a session of Hearts of Wulin. Hearts of Wulin is an upcoming Powered by the Apocalypse game of wuxia melodrama by Agatha Chang and Lowell Francis. It had a successful Kickstarter earlier this year and will be released sometime around the beginning of next year, I believe. I'll put a link to that below you where you can find more about it. This game is being run as part of GauntletCon 2019, which is an online gaming convention where we get together and play games online like this. That's put on by the Gauntlet role-playing community, which is an online community of role players. We sort of specialize in indie games of all stripes, really, from OSR through to story games and pretty much anything else in that general ballpark. Again, you can find out more about us at the I'll put a link below, but it's at gauntlet-rpg.com. We have some podcasts. We have a monthly gaming scene. We have an online calendar for playing games like this, and we have some forums as well. So you can find out more about all that sort of stuff down at the link below. So that's those introductions done. As I say, the game we're playing tonight is Hearts of Wulin, which is wuxia melodrama. So my name is David. I use he/him pronouns, and I will just ask my players if they can introduce themselves, please. I'll go left to right through the character keeper for this in the standard manner. So Zach, can I ask you to introduce yourself first, please?
Yeah, hi, my name is Zach. I use he/him pronouns.
Brilliant, thank you. And Alexis, next, please.
Alexis, he/him pronouns also.
Brilliant, thank you. And Alexi?
Hey, I'm Alexi, he/him pronouns, and you can follow my gaming endeavors online if you choose to do so at Cloven Pine Games. So that's Cloven Pine Games on Twitter, and also the Cloven Pine Games store on itch.io.
That's brilliant, thank you. And last but not least, Greg, if you'd like to introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Greg. I am a talking bubble today. I use he/him pronouns, though. This is a masculine talking bubble.
Brilliant, thank you. And yes, sorry we can't see you in today. Yeah, so I will just very briefly, or probably not briefly because I tend to talk, but go over the safety tools we'll be using for the game this evening. We're sort of basically just, this game has the potential to go into some distressing areas, hopefully not too much, but the potential is always there. We never know quite what could be a problem for us when we sit down at the table. So we've had a discussion already on lines and veils before this game began. We did that offline sort of thing. So these are things where we've basically decided things that either we won't include or we've agreed we just won't kind of dwell on them in any detail. So that's that. We also have the X card in play, which is basically just a way of quickly and stopping the game and excising any material we don't want to include going forward. You can invoke the X card by sort of putting your hands up in an X formation, by putting an X into the chat in Jitsi here, or just by saying I'd like to X card that. When you X card, I might ask you exactly what it is that you are X carding, just so that we know what to avoid going forward. What I won't do is ask you to kind of justify why you want to X card that. If you've said you want to X card it, then that is fine. The other one that I'm going to be using is the safety tool we're using is the script change tool by Bo Sheldon, which is a series of essentially remote control commands, which we can use to kind of control how we engage with content. The pause is we can, if you call out pause, we will stop the game and then we can just have a quick out of character chat about what the pause is for. This can be used basically if you want to have a quick out of character discussion about what's happening or where the scene's going. It might be because the doorbell rings and you have to go and answer it, or or even just like the scene's getting quite intense and you just want to take like 10 seconds to gather your wits before continuing, any of those are perfectly fine. So the most important thing is basically, we're just gonna have a quick chat about what's going on with you, and make decisions as we go forward. Fast forward can be used to either to kind of, if you want to gloss over something a bit like our veils, just say, I don't want to go into this in any detail, can we just move past it? That's fine. Or maybe a scene is just kind of getting a bit circular and isn't going anywhere, and you're like, can we just move on to the next thing that actually happens? That's another good use for fast forward. Rewind can be used if something has happened that you're not happy with and you want to say, can we actually go back and do this in a slightly different way? Or it may even just be something like, say, oh, I know I said that I was going to jump down from the tree on top of the carriage, but actually I think it would be cooler if I did something else. Fine. So I hit the mute button there by mistake. And then there's frame by frame, which is basically used to just give us say we're going to do a scene a bit more slowly, and check in with each other more if we're going into an area where there might be uncomfortable content. I don't see that one coming up particularly in this game, but it's there if people do want to use it. So that's my safety chat out of the way. What I am going to do now is I'm going to go through in Hearts of Wulin, essentially characters have what are known as entanglements with each other's and with some NPCs. These are essentially like three-way relationships that create character triangles. Were we playing for a kind of longer series, when you hit these entanglements, you gain XP at the end of the session. That obviously won't really be a big concern for us today, but the exercise of kind of building out those connections is still useful. So what I will do is I will ask each of the players to introduce their character, give a very brief pencil sketch of them, and then once everyone's introduced their character, we'll then sort of go around and start filling out some of those entanglements. Once we've got those entanglements filled out, we'll start off with a scene, and we'll go from there. This game is designed to be quite flexible, to just sort of seeing what happens and running with it. So we'll see how our story ends up. So I'll give a brief overview of sort of the premise of this story. All of the characters will be members of the Wulin world, martial artists and general hangers-on of that world, who have at one point studied under Master Standing Pine, a well-known it looks like Alexis. It looks like Alexis might have frozen. I'll give him a moment to see if.
I don't feel so alone in my technical difficulties now.
Yeah. It's
Erg. I did not know the depth to which Jitsi and Google Chrome and OBS and the own settings on my own computer about cameras. There's too many layers, too many buttons.
Yeah. It's I'll give Alexis a minute. Yeah, no, it's a real pain since Hangouts now has gone, because none of the, like, every option I've seen has just doesn't quite do it the same way as Hangouts now. It's a really petty thing, but I still can't deal with the fact that StreamYard doesn't mirror your video. It just throws me so much when you look across the screen and you see yourself looking the other way, and it just weirds me out.
Yeah, it's a really disconcerting thing. You're back, Alexis.
Hey, yeah.
Yay!
Hey,
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Yes, no. So I was just saying, I don't know exactly where you cut out, but yeah, the premise we'll be working to is that you're all martial artists who have at one point trained with Master Standing Pine, the master of the Heavenly Bough School. You may no longer study under him. You may have gone off to do your own things, but you have all received a letter of summons to go to see him. It contains little details, but implies you need to be there quite urgently. So we will. I'll ask you all to introduce your characters, and then we'll go through and do your entanglements. So yeah, once again, I'm going to be going through in Character Keeper order a lot, I'm afraid. Zach, if you would like to introduce us, please, to Jade Eagle.
yeah. So I'm playing Jade Eagle. He is a noble son of the Hidden Garden sect. He is kind of a self-serious man. He uses a long lance or a sword staff in order to use his Rising Ogre style is the name of his martial arts. And he's also quite accomplished in storytelling. He's very well read, and he loves folk tales, and he likes to recite folk tales. Is his laughing in the wind move. That's his like chosen art, is he loves stories. It's Jade Eagle.
Brilliant, thank you. And yeah, Alexis, if you'd like to introduce us to Unbending Steel.
All right. So Unbending Steel. I haven't picked out the faction. Oh, the Shang clan. Okay. So Unbending Steel is also the son of the nobleman and minister of the treasury. He is he's very much involved with his family. He's very family oriented, but he also he's very protective of his family as well. So any insult or any threats to his family are things that he takes upon himself to try to take care of.
Brilliant, thank you.
Did you pick a faction name for your family?
Faction. So would that be the? Yeah. The
Oh,
Shane
yeah, so-
clan, is that?
Nice.
One
Yeah.
of them, right?
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, so Alexia, if you'd like to introduce us to Summer Rain.
Yeah, so Summer Rain has the student playbook. She is a student of the Heavenly Bough School, and I think the fact that everyone here has been students at some point suggests that maybe she's the one who's most recently a student, one who perhaps hadn't even graduated yet, but was on some kind of a like field portion of her training when she got the summons back to the mountaintop, right, to the Heavenly Bough School. She is she's a younger sibling. She is trying to live up to the example set by her older sister, I'm going to say, number one scholar, who, as her Wulin name suggests, was the kind of greatest pupil of this school. And Summer Rain is trying to follow in those footsteps. She has learned the way of the bow, and her style is clear sky downpour. But sometimes it's hard to be a younger sibling and a student. So she's trying her best.
Brilliant, thank you. And finally, Greg, if you'd like to introduce us to Rising Phoenix.
Yes, Rising Phoenix. She's a member of the Hall of the Seven Cascades, which, if you look on your faction list, has been destroyed? ? Rising Phoenix is the unorthodox. I see her as sort of a troubled student who may have run away from the school without ever actually being formally graduated, as it were. She now practices the Nine-Finger Way, which has a rather self-explanatory indoctrination process. and her fighting style uses anything and everything she can reach. And I would love to, if we're going to go right into entanglements, I would love to be the sibling of Jade Eagle, who has learned that I'm learning techniques from the master of an enemy clan. Because I imagine,
I'm all about that.
yes, I would imagine that the Hall of Seven Cascades has been destroyed or was supposed to be destroyed by the Heavenly Bough School. But Rising Phoenix has learned their forbidden wuxia ways.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about that. I also just realized that we had a list of factions, and I made one up. Should I switch to one of the ones that are on the list? Would that make things better for the story?
No, I'm happy for you to stick with the one you've got. I like the name.
Okay.
And it makes little odds in the grand scheme of things. They are there more as inspiration than as a
Okay.
as a straitjacket. So yeah, that's fine.
I didn't want to mess anything up, but yeah, I'm all about being who's that? Rising Phoenix's older brother.
Love it.
Yeah, that sounds good. So yeah, we will start because yes, we'll go through entanglements, and I would have gone to Jade Eagle anyway. So yeah, if you want to, Rising Phoenix, and who do we think is the master of the or who was the master? Do we have a
who
name
was
for them?
the master?
We
they're
will
supposed to be dead.
We will assume currently.
So it's got to be Ageless Sin, right? Based on that list of names.
So
I'm going to X card Ageless Sin because I have done another game with Ageless Sin, and I have a very specific memory of Ageless Sin. It is a great name, but I will be thinking about a completely different game.
Extremely
Dragon Fist
I do also
Killer.
really like Ashen Shaw. Ooh,
what was that? Ashen what? Ashen Shaw.
I do like Ashen Shaw.
Ashen
Personally,
Shaw.
I think
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
Awesome. Yeah. Obviously, they at this stage in proceedings, they are probably presumed dead. How well that presumption lasts, shall be seen. But no, that's perfect. Thank you. Unbending Steel, do you want to do one of your basically I'll just explain as well, just on the, as I say, one of these entanglements is what is just referred to as a general entanglement. The other one is referred to as a romantic entanglement. Basically, the one on top is general, the one below is romantic. You can choose to start off with whichever of those you feel like, and obviously we can invent NPCs to fit into these slots as well. It doesn't have to just be with PCs, obviously, as we've seen so far. The only restriction is that at least one of your entanglements has to feature at least one PC.
Okay. I would say that let's see. I swore to Jade Eagle that I would protect his sister, maybe.
Yeah.
Which I guess we could call her.
We've established that Rising Phoenix is Jade Eagle's sister.
Yeah, and I'd be super hella offended if you were supposed to protect me. I could protect myself.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that. Especially I see Rising Phoenix is falling in with the wrong crowd. I'm like, oh man, I'm worried, but I'm busy with my own stuff. No, love that.
Right. Okay. So yeah, we're good with that. Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, cool.
Sorry. Summer Rain. Let's see one of yours. I expect you simplifies your job slightly because I gave you two that were related to your teacher. So
so teacher obviously a big deal here. Standing Pine. I want to look at my romantic entanglement here. I love blank, but my teacher Standing Pine killed someone dear to them. Would it be all right, Zach, if I pointed that one at Jade Eagle?
Oh, interesting. I wonder who Yeah, that's cool by me. I'm wondering who they killed, and that might be why I'm no longer with the Heavenly Bough anymore. Like, I might have moved on from the Heavenly Bough, like after that happened.
Yeah,
I'm down with that. Yeah.
Great. So I'm putting you in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Do we
Cool.
want to explore who that was now, or do we want to leave that as something we might discover in play, or expand on in play?
I'm okay with discovering it in play, but it's your entanglement. So if you have like someone in mind,
I don't. I think that what makes it a conflict for Summer Rain is that she believes Standing Pine must have been justified in killing this person because he is a wise and good teacher. So he wouldn't have killed someone without a good reason.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you. And yeah, Rising Phoenix. If you'd like to detail one of yours.
I'm torn on mine. I would love to put Summer Rain, as I have learned my friend has been betrayed by their teacher Standing Pine, because that just like puts the knife into that student playbook. But you know what? It'll be interesting because why would Rising Phoenix and Summer Rain be friends? Because Rising Phoenix is the no good turncoat. All right.
Yeah, and I think maybe I you know, always like a little bit admired your kind of independence, right? And kind of a little bit envied it, but also understand that that's not the way of the Standing Bough School. We can't be doing that. The Heavenly Bough School.
Nice.
Do you know what the betrayal is that you know of?
Oh, I think that's more fun if I reveal it to you in character.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Because I have no idea right now.
No, that is more than fair. Awesome. So we'll flip back around to Jade Eagle, if you'd like to do your second entanglement.
Yeah, I think so mine is my friend Blank and I vie for the attention of Blank despite their indifference to both of us. So I think Unbending Steel and I are competing for the attention of someone else. Maybe another Shang Clan person.
Yeah, that would certainly make sense.
They were competing for the attention of another Shang Clan NPC. That I'm just gonna throw the name. Let's go Casting Blaze. How's that sound? Casting Blaze.
That sounds awesome. Yeah.
Are you picturing a man, a woman? What are you picturing Casting Blaze as?
I don't know. I think I don't know. I think I'm leaning towards woman, but I could go either way depending on if Alexis, if you have an idea for Unbending Steel, like who they are. If that doesn't fit, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, so my entanglement is that I love Blank, but I have sworn revenge against their family member Blank. So I could love someone else as well. That could happen, right? More than one person.
Mm-hmm.
But that would mean I would have revenge against my own family member. Does that make sense? Or is the clan thing a different thing?
I think clans and families are slightly different.
Yeah. Okay, so that I mean, that's fine. Yeah, that works.
It could also be that you don't actually care about, like, maybe Unbending Steel doesn't actually care about Casting Blaze. They just want to get in my way.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Like, what could also be fun.
Just kind of purely in the spirit of rivalry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, entanglements are all from your own character's perspective,
Yeah.
which
Oh, right.
which gets really complicated because you can like, oh yeah, this person loves this person, and then you're like, no, my character doesn't love that person at all, but that's how the other person sees it. So
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're always
So I could
about
think.
yeah, and you're always about like half a step from going, wait a minute, I'm in love with this person and I don't yet realize that they're my sister. The classic.
Yeah.
We've had some fun ones with twins like separated at birth and yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Yes. So Unbending Steel, if you'd like to do your one.
I would say that I love Rising Phoenix.
Yeah.
But I sworn revenge against their family. Do you have a family member yet? Rising Phoenix?
Jade Eagle is my family member.
Oh, okay. Wait.
And you
think
swore.
there
I
is-
mean, you
Yeah,
swore you would
yeah.
protect me. That doesn't mean you can't also have an oath of vengeance against them.
Or it could maybe
Oh,
be a father or uncle or something like that.
Sure.
Just as an NPC in there would be fine too.
I think Rising Phoenix father. We'll call him. We'll call him.
Can I suggest since he's the father?
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I see Eagle Sentinel on here, and he's the father of Jade Eagle and Rising Phoenix, and so I saw Eagle Sentinel, and I was like, oh man. But sorry, I just wanted
We
to throw
doubled
that
down on the
together.
birds in our family.
Yeah, that sounds good. So Eagle Sentinel, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good to me.
Brilliant, thank you. And Summer Rain.
Yeah, so this one's the martial entanglement. My teacher, Standing Pine, has passed me over in favor of Blank, my rival. I don't know, I realize I already established the older sister who's the best at everything. Though I think it's less that that's a rivalry and more that that's a person I'm trying to live up to, I guess. So I'll give myself a rival in the school. How about Needle Sight Zhao?
Needle Sight Zhao, I like it.
I hate needle sight.
Perfect, thank you. And yeah, that one seems like a fairly. Actually, no. I will ask why, or at least why does Summer Rain think that she's been passed over? What does she think Standing Pine sees in Zhao that he doesn't see in her?
I think Zhao has perfected the kind of this the sort of element of style and flair in martial arts. Like he's the one who's always doing the like trick bow shots where you shoot an arrow and then shoot another arrow to redirect the first arrow.
Cool. Thank you. Finally, Rising Phoenix. What's your?
Yes, my last one is I love Blank, but their sibling Blank considers me beneath them. I love you, brother, but not in that way.
I have a sibling, FYI.
You do. Who is your sibling?
Number one scholar, older sister who is just the best at everything.
And you would be my sibling who considers me beneath them?
I mean, you could decide either arrangement of that entanglement.
Oh, that's true. All right, I'm gonna love your older sister, but
everybody loves her.
Yeah, Sorry.
But she's too good for you, traitor.
Just wait till I reveal what the master did. All right. Very cool. Does your older sister just number one student and I can come up with a name, or do you have one in mind?
Number one scholar is her Wulin name.
Number one scholar?
Yeah.
Right. I love it.
Excellent. Brilliant. So that's all of our entanglements done. If we were running this in a regular sort of series, we'd now go through and essentially select one of these entanglements to highlight, and you get extra XP for hitting that one rather than another. I think we'll just skip that for now because it's not super relevant. And I'll try and hit as many as I can regardless, but obviously given time limitations and stuff, we're unlikely to get everything in, but this gives us some good grist to work with. So I think, oh yes, and sorry, Alexia just reminded me. You all get 2 bonds to start off with. One of these bonds should be on another PC, preferably one that you have an entanglement with, and one of them should be on a faction, and again, preferably one that you are in some way entangled with, or your own faction, or an NPC in that faction, or whatever. These we'll get onto the precise mechanics of those as we play, but essentially they're a way of getting a bonus when interacting with that whole thing. Cool. So what I think we'll do is I'll get kind of a brief introductory scene as you all make your way to the school, and then we'll take our first break. We'll probably take maybe a 10-minute break for the first one. Then we'll get back and we'll carry on with things properly. So it is autumn. The nights have drawn in. The air has grown cooler. The snow is still a little way off, though in the higher parts of the mountains, it has already started to fall thick. The Heavenly Bough School, well, it is in the mountains. It's not like on a big summit peak. It's more on a sort of plateau mountain part way up. The landscape it is in is heavily forested, mostly deciduous trees, and it's that part of the year where they are all vibrant reds and oranges, as if the forest itself was on fire. The school is set in a forest clearing, as I said, on this plateau. It has a sort of central instruction hall and a few outbuildings with kitchens and bedrooms and stuff in. A slightly more, slightly fancier home in which Standing Pine himself lives, though it's no mansion. There is also a small shrine building here, though it's not primarily a temple. It's much more about martial training than religious devotion. So I will ask. I think I will just ask, actually, who will be the first of you to arrive following the summons from Master Standing Pine?
I think it's got to be me. I'm a student. I am nothing if not dutiful. And however mysterious the summons, I am loyal to Master Standing Pine, and I will return at his call.
Excellent. Yes, and you may even have already been on your way back to the school when the messenger caught up with you. So yeah, when we see Summer Rain approaching the school, how does she look?
Yeah, well, she's wearing kind of blue, but practical clothes, hair pulled back into essentially a ponytail, and carrying the bow inlaid with small blue stones that she inherited from Number One Scholar when Number One Scholar was promoted to a bow inlaid with white and black stones, betokening her, her status at the top. And Summer Rain looks around, kind of smells the autumn breeze a moment, and then like sees a single leaf like about to fall off of a tree, and just to stay in practice, quickly notches an arrow and pins the leaf to the tree right as it detaches from the bough.
Excellent. And I think as the arrow pins the leaf to the tree with that thunk and the vibration of the shaft of the arrow, from one of the sort of guest houses, essentially, you will in fact see your sister stepping out. She is dressed in classical scholars' robes, and she glances over to the arrow embedded in the tree and says, "Admirable, sister, though your release of the string sounded a little loose. You should attend to it."
Good to see you too, Number One Scholar.
And we will see our next arrival at the school. Who fancies turning up next?
I think
Everyone
Rising.
wants to be the last to show up.
Yeah, I was thinking that, like, Rising Phoenix wants to be the last, arrive fashionably late. But go ahead.
Well, so I was of two minds. Like I could come. I wonder if Rising Phoenix and Jade Eagle meet on the road.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Or if that's too much. Yeah. Like a strange siblings meeting on the road up to this.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Yeah, I like that. One thing, actually, I am going to ask, because it occurs to me, given the backstory, has Rising Phoenix actually received a summons, or is she coming of her own volition here? Does she have her own agenda?
Ooh, I hadn't even thought of that, but I like that even more. Yeah, she's coming because she's coming for Number One Scholar. It's her intention to woo her, and possibly do all of this while Summer Rain was supposed to be out on whatever sort of sabbatical she was on, and is walking down the path to the school when she probably sees her brother in front of her, and perhaps like the little. I'm the younger sister, right?
Yeah, because I'm
Yeah.
favorite eldest. So
I think like the younger sister she ducks into the woods and coyly starts playing with him by like throwing rocks in his direction to distract him. And then is hiding among the leaves.
yeah, he does. Jade Eagle is wound so tightly. Normally, Jade Eagle is wound super tightly, and he is already stressed out that he's going to his old teacher's school. So yeah, you saw him like walking. He's like dressed in some like he's dressed very formally in like fine clothes. He's carrying his sword staff. And when you like start like messing with him, tossing things like around him so that he hears these sounds, he like stops. You see his like he grips the staff really tightly. He's trying not to like go into a fighting stance, but you can tell he wants to because he's very concerned. And I think eventually he's like, "Who goes there?"
And there's just like a camera shot of the leaves and the giggle, and he's looking around again, and then suddenly he's bowled over by Rising Phoenix as she jumps on his back and pushes him to the ground, and then she runs off.
We see him like pushing himself up, and he goes, "Phoenix, Rising Phoenix," and I think he like scrambles up and like tries to like rush after her, down the road. I don't know if we want to end there or
do
then
with
go
that
to the
unless
next
you
one,
want-
or
You had a question, David?
No, that's cool. I was going to say, yeah, I'm happy for us to maybe move on and see where this develops in a moment.
I think also Jade Eagle probably sees that I'm running and I only have 9 fingers.
Oh yeah. Would I know that you'd like join this clan
Confirming your
already?
suspicions.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. So I think we'll come back to you in a moment. And finally, Unbending Steel. What do we see of him as he answers the summons?
So Unbending Steel actually arrives on a horse, being that he's from a wealthy family. He's got very fine clothes, the clothes of a warrior, of a swordsman, but very fine, very kind of muted colors, but blue and kind of fur lined. And he arrives and he steps down and he goes and he greets his friend Jade Eagle by basically engaging in a very like light. He's not attacking him. He just wants to just do a quick little kind of flourish of his swords, maybe jump up in the air and do a little twirl and kind of meet him there where they meet with swords, and then they just kind of greet each other.
Perfect. Actually, I think what we'll do is because that actually plays quite nicely into one of the basic moves, which is impress. When you act to impress others or succeed at a competition, describe your performance and roll. So yeah, I think we'll go with that. So I'll explain briefly how rolling works in this game. You'll see that you have a list of elements on the character sheet: earth, fire, metal, water, and wood, with a score next to them. Underneath each element, you'll see a couple of like adjectives that describe sort of what that element is like, and essentially, whenever you make a roll, you can always there is an exception to this, but in general you can make the roll with whichever element you choose. You just have to choose an element that makes sense for the action you're taking. So for instance, if what you're doing is if you're being patient and waiting out somebody, to stake out or something like that, they might say, "Oh, well, I'm going to use my wood for that because wood kind of governs patience." Whereas if you were, disguising yourself and passing yourself off as a beggar to do that, you might say, "Well, I'm using my creativity, so that's fire." That's essentially what you choose there. The exceptions to this are anything relating to your actual martial art. When you're actually fighting with your martial arts, you have to use your style element, which will be written down there for you. And there's another move called in a conflict, for which you cannot use your style element. You have to use a different one. But other than that, you always have a choice. What element would you like to roll with for this Unbending Steel?
I think, he's trying to be graceful, right? He's trying to do it. He is trying to impress. He's trying to be graceful, and maybe he's trying to impress somebody. Who is he trying to impress? Maybe Rising Phoenix. Yeah. So
Yep.
So it seems like water, but would that be more fire because of
no, that's water would certainly work here. That's got flexibility as part of it. So I think that definitely sounds like gracefulness to me.
Cool. All right. And that's a 6.
Ooh. You do have if you are trying to impress Rising Phoenix, you do have a bond on her which you could spend to take that up to a 7.
Okay. Is that bond? Is that like a one-time use until I gain another bond?
That's correct. Yeah, it's a bit like, say, a string in Monster Hearts or something like that. You essentially spend the point of bond to give you a +1 bonus.
Sure. So yeah, I'll go ahead and use that then.
Cool. So on a 7 to 9,
real quick. So impress is mostly for NPCs. Hearts and minds is what it says if you're engaging someone specific. It's up to you, David, but I think that would be.
So I think in this sort of situation, I think impress would make sense.
Okay.
But yeah. Yeah, I think impress feels like more the one here because I don't think you're not trying to get him to do anything so much as just make a
be flashy,
a general impression.
Performance.
Yeah. You get to choose Unbending Steel two options from between creating a bond with the person, so you'd essentially get back the bond you just spent, clear one of your elements, or gain some sort of favor with Rising Phoenix.
I think I'll just regain the bond.
Yeah, cool. And there will be a complication. I think what the complication is in this instance is you don't realize it yet, but somebody is watching you from the depths of the forest, and they have learned a little bit about your martial style.
Okay.
Cool. And with that, we will, now we've got the tutorial roll out of the way. We'll take now a quick. We'll take a break till 1:15, so about 8 minutes, and then I'll see you back then, and we will carry on with our story.
I'm gonna.
Good to finally see you. Cool. So I'll just give Zach a moment to get back. And oh, there we go. Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. So yes, I think we'll briefly pop up the yeah, if Summer Rain, did you wish to speak with your sister?
Yeah, I think I'll ask. Number one scholar, you know Standing Pine well as his most valued student. What do you think he is summoning all of us back here for? What could this mean?
I would not like to conjecture, sister. I only know that it must be something of significant import. I saw him send out his I saw him send out the invitations to a number of former students.
Did he invite Jade Eagle by any chance? Just out of curiosity?
I believe he might have done, sister. Why, may I ask, are you so concerned with him? And I think I'm going to call for an inner conflict roll there, if I may.
Yeah, that's legit. You know, nobody wants to talk about their feelings directly, so I will avoid it if at all possible.
So yeah, I'll just explain for the benefit of you who's not familiar. So inner conflict is basically rolled whenever one of your entanglements kind of comes into conflict with your duty or with what you're trying to do or similar, or if something else would otherwise cause you distress or emotional turmoil.
Yeah. Can I be like, just to give the fiction of why this is pushing towards
Sure.
inner conflict? Like, number one scholar is like looking, carefully at Summer Rain, who is kind of just like attempting a neutral face, staying in control, not tipping her hand.
And number one student obviously has that sort of impeccably arched eyebrow as she's sort of contemplating you.
She's had it since we were both, children. It's infuriating. I will roll with metal, I think, because this is about control, calculation, reflection.
Sure.
So, flat roll, and it's a 7.
Okay, so on a 7, you are able you're able to essentially keep your keep it calm isn't quite the right word. You must either flee the scene or mark one of your elements. So when you mark an element, that basically means just put a tick in the box next to it, and you cannot use that element again until it has been cleared. This also the one of the side ramifications for this is if you end up with your martial element marked, you cannot basically you can't fight until that has been, or at least you can't fight successfully until that has been cleared.
I'll totally mark metal as I just kind of white knuckle it, but don't feel satisfied that I've really deflected this inquiry from number one scholar.
Yes. Well, I have no doubt he'll be in attendance. He is a dutiful student, if not. Well, it would not be in my place to speak ill of him, of course, or his associates.
Should we go in? Where are we to meet Standing Pine?
I am sure he will call for us when he is ready. But come, you must be tired from your journey. Join me in tea, and she'll sort of lead you into the guest house.
I will go along.
Cool. And yeah, I think we'll return to those of you who met up on the road. So yes, I think the scene we left at was that Phoenix had been tormenting her brother until Unbending Steel arrived and did his fancy, demonstration of his skill to impress. Well, to Jade Eagle, but to impress Rising Phoenix. So I think we'll just come back in on that. You can, if you wish to just sort of move the scene on to when you're up the mountain. That's also cool. But
I think Rising Phoenix, I owe you a favor, and just she turns to Unbending Steel, and wherever I go, you're always there. Why is that?
You just happen to be where my path is. It is not my intention to pester you. I'm here to see my friend, your brother.
Ah,
But it is good to see you as well.
he's probably back there fighting the trees.
yeah, I think I might call for an inner conflict here as well, because you did confront him directly on his
Yeah,
on his
myself or on him.
No, sorry, on Unbending Steel.
Yeah,
as,
pushing your buttons.
yeah, indeed. So yeah,
So
Unbending Steel.
So who's the one rolling? You're saying that I've got the inner conflict?
That's
Okay.
right, because yeah, essentially, Rising Phoenix is trying to is getting close to the truth of what you're doing here. Or well, not necessarily what you're doing here, but what that you have been tasked with. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you can choose one of the any of your elements to use, except for metal, because that's your style element. So you'd have to choose one of the others to.
Okay. I would say I would say he's trying to be, he has these feelings for Rising Phoenix, and that he's trying to be cautious about letting anyone know about it, because especially in the presence of her brother. So probably Earth.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. That would be an 8.
Okay, so yes, on the 79, you'll get the same choice that Summer Rain did. So you can either choose to mark your element, so mark Earth in this case, or you can flee the scene or distance yourself from the scene. It's up to you to choose which.
I think I'll just mark the element.
Cool. Oh, and sorry, I should have mentioned to the both of you as well. Whenever you roll your inner your inner conflict, you mark XP. You also mark XP if you fail your inner conflict roll. I always forget it's a newer roll from when I last ran it, so it occasionally trips me up. So yes, that's cool. So
and I think at this point, Rising Phoenix is going to, as a favor, offer her hand to you, and you can walk up to the mountain shrine together.
Okay. Yeah.
Leave her brother behind.
Yeah.
And
I'm
so
kind of
did
doing
all this
it.
happen?
Good.
Did all this happen in front of Jade Eagle?
Yeah, in front of the. You could probably see it if you were looking hard, and not fighting the trees like I joked you were.
Yeah.
Yeah, because especially if Unbending, because you'd kind of like showboat, you'd pretended to be showboating for me to say hello, but really you were showboating for Rising Phoenix, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think Jade Eagle is like looking back and forth between the two of you and like, what is happening?
Cool. If you would like to roll me, study. It's another basic move on the basic move tab there. Or actually, sorry, I may be. That's a good point. Actually, I believe you have a move for this, don't you? Tracing Shadow.
Yeah, I do. That's true. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would like to do my Tracing Shadow. I think I've clapped Unbending Steel's shoulders. I'm like, it's so good to run into you here. This is like having and like looking at Rising Phoenix and looking at Unbending Shadow. It's very good to see both of you who have on our way. This is very interesting. And he's kind of just like looking at them. So I'm gonna roll that with I actually think I'm gonna roll that with I'm gonna roll that with wood for curiosity.
Sure thing.
I think actually.
Who are you directing that move towards? Rising Phoenix?
Oh, that is a good question. Yeah, I think
me.
More... Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say it sounded to me like it was more towards Unbending Steel, but yeah, you feel free to do whichever you'd rather.
I think it was more towards Rising Phoenix personally.
Sure.
Because I'm really concerned about my sister at this point, and I'm kind of just like, oh yeah, good to see you, Unbending Steel. What's happening here? Like kind of like pushing him aside.
Yeah, sure.
That was a 5.
Ooh. So on a miss. Rising Phoenix, you you learn.
Oh, that's exciting.
Eagle's entanglements. So I think that yeah. I mean, well, describe sort of. I mean, because the two entanglements that Jade Eagle has are that they that he's discovered that Rising Phoenix is learning secret techniques from Ashen Shah, and that Unbending Steel is vying for the attention of Casting Blaze. So I think you probably pick up that he is kind of maybe eyeing both of you a little suspiciously as he's talking.
Yeah, I'm interested how Rising Phoenix learns through this interaction that you and Unbending Steel are vying for the attention of Casting Blaze. I think, and this is just a proposition. She smells her perfume on both of you.
Ooh.
In this autumn wind, she detects it amongst the musky smell of leaves and realizes that recently you have both been near her or in her presence.
I like that. I also, because we don't actually, I don't think we ever decided if Unbending Steel was like actually going after Casting Blaze.
True.
But even then,
they're the same clan, so they might just be close in general. But I definitely think you can see that like my grip on Unbending Steel is not like, it's friendly, it's not like hostile, but it's also like, it's Jade Eagle is just constantly stressed out, but this is like especially stressed out. It's like, oh yeah, my good friend who I'm so close to, and we haven't had any problems lately at all.
Yeah, and I feel like when Rising Phoenix grabs his hand to go up the mountain, we kind of maybe, I don't know if that sounds right, but like we kind of lock eyes and smile, and then kind of like look back at him, and I kind of put my arm around her, kind of like in a like just to mess with him kind of thing, because I know how uncomfortable he is with this whole thing. Like it's his, it's his sister, and it's his friend, and that's not something that should be happening. So I just kind of my dart my eyes over at her and kind of like look back, kind of a sly like, haha.
And especially if I think you're competing with me for casting Blaze, and now you're hitting on my sister, like, oh man, Unbending Steel, what are you doing? What are you doing? Is in my head.
Brilliant.
What's the like oblique comment about like the weather or the scenery that you make whose subtext is Unbending Steel, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah. I think I say oh shit. I think I say something about it's the weather today has been so obtuse. With these clouds, it's impossible to tell, will it rain? Will it snow? Will it clear? I have no idea. It's impossible to sense the machinations of something so mercurial.
You should have been a poet, brother.
I've read
you better.
If you did the readings like I had done in our youth Rising Phoenix, perhaps you may be able to speak as eloquently as I.
I don't think she responds to that.
This is a very good sibling.
Put someone in their place, yeah.
Oh. That's a move.
Isn't that the advanced move of shut someone down in Monster Hearts, or is it
Different game though.
I forget.
Yeah,
Never mind.
yeah. Yes, no. Sadly, there isn't really a snark maneuver in Hearts of Wulin, unless you get to the point of a PC versus PC snarking duel, which is absolutely possible. Cool. So yeah, I think with that we'll frame up to the you'll have all made your arrival on the mountaintop, and you are summoned to members in his house. As I say, his house is a little grander than the sort of guest accommodations on the mountain. Sorry, are we having connectivity issues? No, I think everyone's moving again. Oh, good. So I think my screen was looking a bit dicey there for a sec. So yeah, his house is a little grander than the other accommodation here, but it's, like I said, it's not opulent. But he does have like a kind of a formal receiving room. He is seated at the head of the room. There is a wall scroll behind him that has a picture of the autumn leaves drifting down from the trees that you do recognize as having been painted by him himself. It's clearly in his hand. He is sat on a cushion, set in front of this thing. incense burns from a couple of holders on either side of his chair or his seat. He's kind of the end of the room he's in isn't quite as well lit as the rest of the room. So he's slightly wreathed in shadow. But as you're all allowed to sit in there are floor cushions for you to be seated on, and the other students will be present here. So that's to say, Casting Blaze is here. She's also one of the students, and Needle Sight Zhao, obviously, number one scholar we've already established, is here. There'll also probably be another few students, past and present, here who we will introduce more if the need arises.
I try to casually, without looking like I'm doing it on purpose, sit next to Jade Eagle.
Excellent. That sounds. I won't make you do any sort of roll for that. I think it's not difficult to do. There isn't like there's possibly like a semi-formal thing, like, you know, obviously number one scholar will obviously, you know, seat in kind of the you know, the seat of honor, as it were, and that sort of thing. But there isn't, other than that, there's not really a formal arrangement here. So you can do that without drawing undue suspicion, I think, at the moment. Oh, that's I will ask just to double check again. Rising Phoenix, have you entered this meeting either, or well, have you entered like, have you just come in and sat down like you're supposed to be here, or?
That's a very good question. I think she has. I think Rising Phoenix is bold enough to just not really give a damn. If she wasn't even supposed to be invited, I don't think, you know, maybe it's one of those, you know, there's 14 people in the room and there's 13 cushions. So she has just sort of positioned herself against the back door because there's nowhere for her to sit in particular.
Sure thing. And
I can't believe she's come back here. Can you?
Jade Eagle is just like staring at her, mortified, like, what is she doing? And I think he does say, he goes, I'm unsure. I'm sure that Rising Phoenix simply wants to be present for her friends in whatever dealings this is. Mortified.
And and Standing Pine will offer a very slight, you know, inclination of his head, not a full bow to the room, and say, "It is good to see you all here, my devoted students." And his eyes will flicker over Rising Phoenix. And surprise to see some of you. I have called you all here because I fear that my enemies may be working against me. I hope that I can count on you to protect me and this school in its hour of need. I do not know when this attack may come. I may not require you all to be here at all times, but I do ask that you repay your loyalty to me in this matter.
Of course, Master Standing Pine. We will defend you and the school against all threats, but who is it that we should be watching out for?
There are troubled times in the Wulin. I have learnt of the destruction of the Hall of the Seven Cascades. I do not believe it has yet been discovered who is responsible for this attack, but it is certain to throw the Wulin into turmoil. And I believe that we may be at risk also.
I think this might trigger inner conflict for Rising Phoenix.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And I think with some heavy foreshadowing here, I think it's causing inner conflict, particularly around I've learned my friend Summer Rain has been betrayed by their teacher.
Certainly.
And I'm going to do this with caution, which, surprise, surprise, Rising Phoenix isn't so good at. All right, here we go. Oh, good. It's a 7. And I think it's most dramatic if I flee the scene. So at the mention of the fall of the Hall of Seven Cascades, Rising Phoenix, who is already rised above everyone else who is sitting down on their cushions, opens the door behind her as everyone turns to look at her and closes the door behind her.
I wish I could be surprised by such a display of ill manners, but
Master Standing Pine, forgive me. It's clear that Rising Phoenix knows something about the evil that you fear. Someone should ask her to give an account of her behavior and what she knows.
perhaps
I will. Oh, sorry.
No,
I think Jade Eagle would be like, I will speak to her.
yes, attend to your sister, Jade Eagle.
And
Master Standing Pine.
Oh.
Master Standing Pine, may I accompany Jade Eagle to report back to you any crucial, actionable intelligence that we discover?
Of course, you may accompany Jade Eagle. If please. You are excused.
Could I use hearts and minds to try to gently dissuade Summer Rain from joining me?
Yeah, please tell me what you're doing and make the roll, right?
Yeah, I think Summer Rain offers and like gets Standing Pine's blessing, and I think what's this? When you pressure someone susceptible, yeah, I think Jade Eagle like gently like looks to Summer Rain and goes, I fear that if two of us go to her, she may feel like she's being bullied. She may feel as if she's being surrounded. I would like to speak to her myself, and I will come to you, Summer Rain, and we can make a decision afterwards if that is acceptable.
Do you like take my hand or put your hand on my shoulder in like a purely like business like way while saying this? Great.
I definitely think I would, as long as that would be like, as long as that would be appropriate, I would definitely like put my hand on your shoulder and just be like, trust me, everything's okay, but I should do this alone probably. And then that is, I'm going to roll with Earth. I think I'm going to roll with Presence. And that is a 8.
Okay, so on an 8 with hearts and minds. So yeah, on a 10 plus, they bow to your words and do what you want. For PCs, on a hit, they mark XP if they do what you ask, or if they don't, they mark an element. On a 7 to 9, if they choose to mark an element to avoid doing it, you also mark an element if they decide not to do it. Yes.
So just to check that I understand, if I insist on coming along, then both of us mark an element?
That's right. Yep.
Let me check. Is that going to be frustrating, or is that fun to just like push into that, kind of further heightening of emotional stuff? Because I'm open to either.
I am too. If you're like, no, Summer Rain's definitely gonna push and join, then I'm totally cool with it.
Yeah, I think she puts a hand on yours, on her shoulder, and then kind of takes it off firmly and says, "You heard Master Standing Pine's instructions.
Yeah,
I'm coming with you."
That's great.
So yeah, you may both mark whichever element you feel appropriate for that.
I can mark any element. I don't have to mark the one I rolled.
I don't believe so for that one, because I think it's just a.
Yeah, and probably you want to mark a different element, because if you mark Earth, you can't fight.
Yeah, so I'm much more inclined to mark something else. And I think I'm going to mark that.
I'm marking Wood, whose kind of negative aspects include overconfident and angry, which I feel are appropriate in this circumstance.
Yep, I was going to make a mention. Actually, I didn't do that before. That when you mark an element, you'll see on the other side there's those sort of conditions, and basically the idea is that either when your element is marked, either a kind of positive nature of element of that becomes obsessive. So, for instance, if you marked Wood, then you might go from being patient to being like incredibly stubborn and not changing no matter what or whatever, or inactive or whatever, passive, or it kind of can go to the opposite. So yeah, you see there with like water, that can go to being uncertain, isolated, or depressed. Those are just kind of guidelines that sort of like influence like maybe how you're acting. We'll also get onto after this scene how you can start clearing those conditions. But that's cool. So I think I'm going to ask Unbending Steel. What's your sort of reaction to both to this exchange and just to kind of the news from Standing Pine in general?
Well, I think I'd ask Master Standing Pine. I don't mean to question. Forgive me, but it seems that Rising Phoenix has every right to be upset. After all, it's her clan that has fallen. Is there some suspicion that her clan may have been responsible for these attacks you speak of?
The Ashen Shah and the devotees of the Hall of the Seven Cascades have long been jealous of my skills. I believe that is why Rising Phoenix fled to join them in the first place. She has not the devotion or the skill to fully understand my teachings. I suppose, and he will kind of, nod his head in sort of a, kind of an acknowledgement. I suppose that I am grateful she was spared whatever fate befell her new brethren.
Would Jade Eagle and Summer Rain have left the room at this point?
Yes.
While he's saying all this? Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm assuming this is after they've left. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
I just want to make sure.
So I also asked Master. So I understand you doubt her devotion, but I don't believe she would be here if you had not summoned us and summoned her. And I believe she has dedication to the school. Everything she learned from you. I don't understand why there are suspicions upon her.
Quite simply, Brother Unbending Steel, I did not summon her.
That is very
I know
strange.
I know not why she is here. I think if you want, you can make a study roll if you want to try and get more of an impression out of what Standing Pine is thinking here, because you've kind of interacted with him with a bit. So I'll just quickly flick over to the study move. So yeah, the way study works is essentially when you study something or someone in order to change the game state roll, you can gain basic information on a hit, you also can generate hold to ask additional questions. One of the things as well that you can do as part of this, so you can basically, it gives you the option to ask a couple of questions if you roll successfully. But also one of the options on there as well is you can just like make up details and have them be true if you want. That's always an option you have with study. So but yeah, if you do wish to study him, and if there's kind of an initial question like what it is you're trying to understand about him, and then roll with however you think you're trying to sort of get that out of him.
I think I'm really trying to understand what he thinks Rising Phoenix is doing here if he didn't summon her. But yeah, I'll roll for that. And then again, I'm rolling with one of my elements.
Yes, whichever you think would be appropriate for this kind of sizing him up, or however you're sort of approaching this. Yep.
This let's see. And I can't use one that I've already checked. Is that right?
If it's checked, yep, you can't use it. it has to be one that's not checked.
So I should have checked each time I've used it. I've used water and I've used earth.
No. So it's only when
the move calls.
Basically, when I tell you, checking is kind of like the equivalent of taking damage in this. It's just that you can take it for just other things. But yeah.
Got it. Okay. I guess I can't use the metal since that's my fighting.
You can on this roll, yeah. It's just in a conflict that you can't use it on. But yeah, on this you could use metal.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll metal. I feel like I'm trying to calculate what I feel like he may be, what he is trying to do with her being here, and not just immediately questioning her why she's even here, not even why he wouldn't point out that he didn't invite her here.
Yep, sure thing.
Okay. Ooh, that's a 5.
Excellent. And I think, that's where we will. I think we'll see this, and then we will cut over to the others. But he will say, "Please, brother, Unbending Steel, I don't think you need concern yourself with Rising Phoenix any longer." And he kind of he places his sort of left hand on your shoulder, but as he does so, you can feel his fingers pressing into one of the nerves in the back of your neck. And could you mark your metal for me, please?
Yes. Oh no.
That's a hard move. There.
Right in the fighting stat.
Indeed.
Are you with us, Alexi?
Yep.
So no, we'll cut over to the two of you going after Rising Phoenix.
Rising Phoenix has she's throwing a bit of a tantrum as she's leaving this house, and she, you probably catch her just as she slams the door behind her, and catch her sort of in the little sculpture garden out front.
Rising Phoenix, stop.
Both of you? He sent both of you?
I wanted to make sure to come along. You have things to answer for. What are you doing back here?
And I'm gonna look at Jade Eagle, not even like acknowledging Summer Rain. Does she know?
Does she know what?
Do you know?
Does he know what?
I'm trying to remember who knows what about who.
I know, right?
Okay.
So Summer Rain, who is someone very dear to you? Because they're dead.
Oh no. Maybe maybe a parent then. Number one scholar and my
Oh, I like that.
and my mother. Let's do that. Let's do mother.
Who is your mother?
Oh, what do we got? We got Dancer of Loss. There we go.
Dancer of Loss. Now this is definitely like inner conflict hardcore, but Dancer of Loss was at the Hall of the Seven Cascades.
What do you mean? Why would she be? How? What?
Standing Pine came and destroyed the Hall of the Seven Cascades.
That is quite an accusation you're making, sister.
And probably the inner conflict role to match it. But yeah.
I feel like I need to roll inner conflict. Do you think you need to roll inner conflict too? Should we just both roll inner conflict?
Sorry, I've been having problems with the mute button all the time. Yeah, that sounds good. I think. So yeah, I think maybe if we go with Summer Rain first.
Yeah, that seems right. I have so many elements marked. I think I'm rolling with Earth, because like, I could jump to one conclusion or another, and either attack Rising Phoenix for lying to me, or turn on my beloved teacher. But instead, I'm going to try to be cautious and focused and figure this out without losing it, as I kind of probably she has like reached out to lean on one of these statues just as she gathers herself here. Oh, hey, that's boxcars.
Excellent. So, well, in on the plus side, you gain an additional point of XP, so 2 in total for that roll. On the downside, we'll probably get back to that in a moment.
Sorry, not Snake Eyes boxcars.
Oh, sorry. Yes, no, that was me getting that. Yeah, no, cool. Sorry, my terminology is off.
Somehow I'm weathering this.
Then a Rising Phoenix need to roll as well.
Yes, I think so.
I think so. And I can't roll my style element. That's correct.
That's correct. Yeah.
This is not patience. This could be presence. I'll roll with Earth again. Oh, and that is Snake Eyes.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. So yes, you do gain 2 XP from that roll in total.
Yay.
And I think, I think I will ask you to mark well, actually, I'm going to say here, you can. I'm going to ask you to mark your Earth. However, you can, if you wish, take this as a wound instead, as you're stood there. It's evening now. There's a bit of mist rising on the thing, and said the dried, the sort of red leaves are falling down around you. When suddenly there is the whoosh of arrow as it flies and well, either hits you or you deflect it, but and you will see standing on the bough of a tree a little ways away from you, a figure dressed in dark clothing, their face currently concealed, but you will recognize from the you'll all recognize from the stance that this is clearly someone with Heavenly Bough training, and in particular Summer Rain, because you know their style, very well. You know that this is Needle Sight Zhao.
Needle Sight Zhao.
I will not take that as a wound. That wound box is brutal.
It is, yes, it is.
Wound box is so brutal. I think that the arrow like whizzes past her head, and it would have hit her like in the back of the neck had she just not very quickly gone like this, almost unnaturally quickly move her head, and the arrow goes by her. And Rising Phoenix is going to scramble for cover back inside the school.
Excellent. And I think that's where we will take our next break. So again, we'll be back in about 5 minutes, just before 1:15, and we will pick up with what happens next. Cool. Right. Welcome back, everyone. So just before we get back into things, because there's a few people who've got quite a few or significant elements marked at the moment, I will just explain briefly about how they work, essentially. So you can clear a marked element. So if you have an opportunity to kind of have a little montage in between scenes, you can clear one element. If you can kind of explain a way you're doing that, should probably generally be doing something to counteract either something that someone's done to you, or to like work through your emotions, or just have a scene where you're like punching a training dummy or something. Given the situation we're in, it's unlikely we're going to get the opportunity to do that immediately. I wasn't sure if this was going to escalate straight away or not. The other thing you can do is you can use the comfort and support move on other people, if by giving them encouraging words and the like. That gives you an option, the opportunity to help them clear a condition, and if you do well, also clear one of yours. So those are kind of the primary ways of clearing conditions. Some other moves also let you clear a condition if you succeed at them, but those are kind of the primary ones, just so you're aware of that as we go into this. The other thing that you can do, I kind of alluded to this in the previous scene, but if you are like actually kind of in combat or in some sort of physical peril, when you would mark one of your elements, you can instead choose to mark the wounded box, which means you've taken some form of physical wound. This imposes a -2 penalty on all rolls you make until it's cleared, so it's quite nasty, but it does have the benefit that it doesn't prevent you from using it, unlike other things. Unbending Steel has one wound box that has no negative impact on them because they're the swordsman and they're tough. But yes, that's where we are. So I think I'm going to cut back to Unbending Steel first. So at this point, you can quite easily deduce that something is up. You can feel that essentially Master Standing Pine has just done a nerve touch on you to inhibit your martial skills. So what's your reaction to this?
I kind of look at him in disbelief, like what? I just don't understand why he would do this. I say, what have you done? What have you done, Master Standing Pine? I feel as though you've blocked something.
The student must learn When is the time for action, and when is the time to remain in peaceful contemplation? I am concerned you may not have the necessary level of control yet, brother. Please think on this.
I don't, and I feel like I just kind of like would just turn around and just kind of walk out of the room. I'm just torn between like I'm angry, but I know I shouldn't strike out at my master, and I just feel like just removing myself from the situation would be what I needed to do.
Cool. Yeah, in which case I won't get you to roll in a conflict move because you're essentially choosing to remove yourself from the situation anyway. I think that's possibly something that otherwise could have escalated to that point, but because your reaction to it is to leave, there's no need to roll it.
And I feel like I maybe like I'm kind of thinking about the whole situation. I'm like kind of walking out to see what's going on with Rising Phoenix and Jade Eagle and
yeah. And oh yeah, that's a good point. I'd forgotten you had that. So thank you for reminding me, Alexi. I had forgotten that. Yeah, you do have that move, so you could.
Oh, I didn't see that move. Oh, so Paladin in trouble time.
Yeah. Although, yeah, you may not want to. Though one of the things I will point out is that, yeah, if at any point you decide you want to have a flashback to the master or someone else telling you something, okay. Just you can just step up and say, I want to call in a flashback.
Yeah, I kind of feel like maybe something before I left on my journey, I spoke to my father, and he may have given me some sort of advice as far as maybe some words of caution in this situation.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I think I will. I will have you roll. Roll with with whichever stat you feel appropriate for going to consult with your father on and seek his advice.
Okay. Probably maybe wisdom. Maybe I'm trying to figure out ascertain the difference between the wisdom of my master and the wisdom of my father.
Yeah, certainly.
Okay. So that would be water. Okay. That was 7. That's 8.
Okay, cool. So yeah, on an 8. You'll get a +1 forward to your next roll if you follow their advice. You'll also mark a point of XP. And I think what I think this is your father is he's dressed in like sort of military garb like you, but his has sort of the markings of a high ranking officer, and I think he has handed you the summons that came for you from Master Standing Pine, and he says, my son, I would offer you a word of caution about Master Standing Pine. We sent you to train with him because he is one of the foremost warriors of the Wulin. but and I respect him and I respect his skills, but he has a level of ambition that is perhaps to be praised in a man of his accomplishments, but I fear it may draw him to take rash actions. Respect him, honor him as your teacher, but be wary of him and those close to him. For I truly feel that he cares for no one in this world but himself.
Okay, so I think I would take that as like maybe that my father wants me to respect him, but also be wary. So I feel like as I'm walking away, I want to make sure I bow to him and so that he understands that I don't mean any disrespect, and that I don't want him thinking I'm disrespecting him. And I bow to him and I leave and I walk out.
Brilliant, thank you. And yes, as you leave the hall, you will be you'll see the sculpture garden where the three of them are stood, and you will sort of will now catch your view as you see this dark figure in the tree fire an arrow at Rising Phoenix, and we'll fade back in the action with everybody.
I think you wanted to use the blade heart, right, Alexi?
So I do, but I think I want to try fighting first. Because if I see this arrow whiz right by you, right, like I do, despite our differences, think of Rising Phoenix as a friend, and Needlesight Zhao is my hated academic rival. So I bring my bow up. I say, Zhao, what are you doing? And like notch an arrow to it. Is he still firing from the treetops?
Yeah, I think as he responds to you, he leaps from the tree, kind of somersaulting through the air, and fires another shot at Rising Phoenix. But this time she's aware of it and can easily dodge it.
I want to fire and hit his arrow out of the air.
Oh yeah,
right?
No, that's cool. Yeah, and he will land on another branch. Again, another flurry of dried leaves falling to the floor with that sort of crunching, crackling sound. And he will call out, "I am obeying the orders of our master. Rising Phoenix is a traitor. She should not have shown her face here again."
Yeah, I think I say, You're acting rashly. Standing Pine may be acting rashly. We don't know everything yet. We need to hold still. And I want to just I'm aiming to like fire arrows to do the classic like pin through their clothes thing and like pin him to the tree, with the possibility that this just triggers a archer versus archer duel.
Yeah, I think yeah, that we will go straight into the dual move, because I think there's been a bit of like back and forth here. So I think that we'll see if you manage to kind of pin him in place with this volley. He is of the same scale as you. We've already established you're of a very similar skill level. He may have the sight edge on you, but not in terms of being higher scale. So again, the way duels work in this is we usually will narrate a bit of like back and forth between them, and then there's a single roll that determines the outcome of it. This is there's a concept called scale, which basically means how skilled you are compared to your opponent. There is essentially 3 levels. You can either be higher scale than your opponent, lower scale than your opponent, or about the same as your opponent. In this case, it's about the same. And what result you get depends on how your relative scales are. For instance, if you're fighting someone at higher scale than you, you cannot win the duel, but you can control how you lose. At your scale, you have the chance of winning or losing. But yeah,
so. That sounds right to me. I think it's anyone's game as these two go up against each other. It's probably like, I don't know, for people watching, it's probably a little uncanny how like fast arrows start flying, where like just like people's hands are slightly blurring, and then it seems like arrows are just like springing out of trees behind people.
Yeah, and as needle sight Zhao is like leaping from branch to branch. While you fire an arrow, and he leaps from one branch and lands on that arrow, and then lands on another branch, and
that's classic. I definitely to like run up the side of one of the sculptures in the sculpture garden, just like firing all the way. I'll roll with water, which is my style element here. It's a sudden squall of arrows. Oh no, that's a 6.
So one of the things I will point out here, we can just go with the miss on that. The words, sorry. If you have a bond on somebody, you can spend that to assist. Again, kind of like using a string in Monster Hearts. Well, sorry, not like using a string in Monster Hearts, because obviously you can't help anyone in Monster Hearts. But yeah, you can spend a bond to give them a +1 to their roll if you're doing something to aid them, or if you can also make a comfort and support move to gain a bond to aid them if you're doing something to assist in that way.
Okay, anyone want to aid me? I'm at 6 right now.
Yeah, I would actually love to aid you. I think in this fight, as you are climbing up that one of those statues, Rising Phoenix has done one of like those punches and punched like the whole statue breaks, but the piece goes flying and like makes Needle Sight Zhao lose his footing on the tree, and he swings down and gives you an opportunity to get a hit in. So I will burn. I'm trying to prove to you that I'm not lying. I'm on your side.
Yeah, that's awesome. So with that bond burned, I'm pushed up to a 7.
That's correct. Yep.
So I'm going to choose win at a cost. Where just seeing him to the tree, like he got like flipped down, and I want it, so he's like, and then like now he's like pinned to the tree, hanging upside down by like the arrows sticking through his clothing. But I will, when it says mark an element, can I choose mark wounded, given that it's a conflict here?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm marking wounded. I'll note that because of my move sacrifice, when I mark wounded, all of my allies get +1 forward. So you're welcome, everybody. And I don't know. Someone tell me where I get hit with an arrow that like has the most like impact as far as it feeling like this is a sacrifice that spurs everyone else forward.
Got to be the shoulder, right?
Yeah, shoulder too. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So, ooh, yeah. Like I'm like hit with the arrow in the shoulder and like just like grimace through it for a moment as I finish firing the arrows that like pin Needle Sights out of the tree, and then I like kind of like collapse back against the like destroyed statue.
Cool. So, well,
sorry.
no worries. I was going to say, I think I would like to see. Oh, well, I'm going to give an option here. Unbending Steel. If you don't want to, like immediately run to Summer Rain to comfort her in her injury, then I will ask you to make an inner conflict roll. But obviously, you can just go to her if you want.
Which person you
said Summer Rain to comfort her because she just got shot with the arrow, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So actually, as I'm walking out, I see all this and I hear, basically it's this whole thing is because of, Rising Phoenix, right? So I feel like this might be the time that I would decide that I don't care how much people know, that I just go and I kind of run in front of her and almost like to stand in front of her to make sure that she's not hurt.
Sorry,
so,
I was confusing you.
Oh, okay. So
sorry, I had no, that's right. Sorry, I had who was the target of your things confused. Yeah, sorry, that was me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you could do what you wish to do. Yeah.
So that's how I feel. I would have come out. I would have come out and seen this happen. I saw this arrow kind of coming out from the woods, and saw Eagle Sight Zhao kind of come in for the attack, and I would have kind of just rushed in front of Rising Phoenix, and I kind of put my hand, and I draw my sword out, even though I know I'm not going to be all that great here. I feel like I'd want to stand my ground, and I feel like I'd be kind of giving myself away a little bit as far as my feelings for her, because it's kind of out of character for me to be that protective.
Rising Phoenix is like pushes your arm. Like, what are you doing? And tries to get out ahead of you, and I assume you just do it again. What are you doing? Let me at him.
And I'm like, you stand back. You're in danger here. I don't want to see you hurt.
I'm always in danger.
That is true, but this is a different danger. This is I feel like
Jade
we're being
Eagle's
betrayed
right there.
here. Right?
Jade Eagle's right there.
Yeah, I'm really trying to figure out how Jade Eagle's is handling all of this. And I do think Jade Eagle does run over to Summer Rain at least briefly, because
I look extremely piteously towards you.
Yeah, because I think Jade Eagle's real concern right now is this person that just tried to kill his sister, but also this person is trapped and his sister is safe, so he should help the person who protected his sister, not Unbending Steel, Mr. Johnny Come Lately. Summer Rain actually saved his sister. So I think Jade Eagle does. He runs over to that statue where Jade Eagle is, or Summer Rain is, and he props her up and he inspects the wound. And I think he says, Summer Rain, are you okay?
I'll live.
You protected my sister from a member of your own school. You are aware of how this may look.
I had to act with honor. You understand that? You're the most honorable person I know, Jade Eagle.
I would like to. So I think first off, I think Jade Eagle kind of blushes at that a little bit. But I think how he responds is I think he recites like a short poem that he has memorized that amounts to something along the lines of it's a poem that like amounts to something along the lines of standing up for what is right, and it's something like the fox will defend the rabbit even from other foxes when that is what is best for the forest, something like that. Because I want to use my laughing in the wind. Does that allow me to clear a wounded mark, or is that, or can I only clear if that succeeds? Rather,
Yeah.
it still needs.
For all intents
All
and
right.
purposes, wounded is another element box, I believe. So you just clear it whenever you would clear an element. I could have that slightly wrong, but not enough for me to care.
Yes,
I
please.
would like to roll.
Please heal my arrow wound with your inspiring story.
And I'm going to roll that with presence, I think, which is earth. And that is a good roll. That is a 12.
Perfect. So yeah, on a 10 plus, you get to choose 3 options from the laughing in the wind list there.
So yeah, as I'm telling this as I'm reciting this poem, I yank out the arrow, probably from the right way that does not damage, just to kind of like help it. I know you're not really supposed to remove them, but whatever. That's what I do, and clear the wounded. That's the first thing I do. I think can I just do the same thing 2 more times? Can I clear people's conditions 2 more times?
Yeah, go on. I think that's fair.
Okay. I would like to clear probably Rising Phoenixes and also one of Unbending Steels, since the 3 of us are all here. Just want to give everybody some inspiration, I think.
That's
great.
cool.
It's got to be that, like, as you're saying this, the like camera does like a little montage over like everybody's faces, and like the like subtle changes of expression, you know, tells us how this story is kind of, you know, reaching inside them and you know, letting their chi flow.
There's probably like a stirring a stirring C-pop song, you know, going on in the background.
And like so in like some of the more modern these Chinese fantasy movies where they're like like shows like maybe Unbending Steel's heart beating, right, and as he hears these words it beats faster, and it kind of, you see a flow of energy through that spot that Master Standing Pine had, and it just kind of like a little burst of energy, a little burst of light right there comes up, and he just kind of, and you see like a serene, calm face.
Cool.
And
so
as your heart is beating fat. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to tell him to clear his metal.
And I think as your heart is beating faster, the camera cuts back to Rising Phoenix, who is trying to slip underneath your arm and get back over to Summer Rain. Summer Rain, thank you.
I had to give you the chance to prove yourself.
Where is your sister?
What?
Tell me quickly.
Rising Phoenix.
She must be protected. This is probably inner conflict.
Rising.
Also, I did just want to check in while we're doing that roll. How are you looking for time, Greg?
I'm good to go about 4:30.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's fine. I think we'll probably be wrapped up by about then anyway, so that should be fine. Cool. No. It should probably come as no surprise that we're probably heading towards a big confrontation with Standing Pine.
I think this might be. Unfortunately, I believe this is probably awareness because I can't use passion because this game is mechanically perfect. Here we go. Oh, that's a 5. Actually, wait, hold on. So I am the unconventional, unorthodox, whatever. So I can once per session, I may roll an additional die. After rolling that die, I take the 2 highest. So I'm going to re-roll my 2.
Isn't
There we go.
The flavor for the additional dies, it has to be some kind of secret technique, though, right? Or
yes. Well, no, I've been cursed or gifted with these techniques. So for flavor, yeah, Rising Phoenix isn't called that for no reason. You actually, if Summer Rain is looking into her eyes, you start to see like little flames licking on the irises of her eyes, and you know that it would be a very bad idea to not tell her where number 1 scholar is.
so just to check, you've re-rolled inner conflict and gotten, and what have you gotten?
I got a 7 or 9, so I have to mark an element. I will mark. What did I roll with? Water.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. I think I like stare into Rising Phoenix's eyes, catching that, and like say, "Will wonders never cease this evening?" You have trusted me with a terrible secret. I will trust you to protect. I push that word hard. My sister. I saw her moments ago, and I say the place where she's staying here at the here at the school. But I must speak to Needlesight Zhao. I think I can win him back to the way of righteousness. Jade Eagle, will you help me over to him?
Yeah, I pull you up. And I think I look to Rising Phoenix as I'm like holding up Summer Rain, and I say, "Please, sister, wait for me just a moment." And I don't know if I need to trigger hearts and minds for that, but I want to. I do not want Rising Phoenix going off on her own again. I want to be able to back her up.
Actually, I have a move for when I run off into danger, so try and stop me.
But yeah, no, by all means, you can roll with hearts and minds, and we will see what effect that has.
All right, and I think that seems like fire to me. That feels like passion or caution, or no. Yeah, I'm gonna go with passion. I'm going with fire. Please, sister, do not leave without me. And that is a 6, 7, 8.
Yeah. So as before, if Rising Phoenix waits for you, she marks a point of XP. If she goes off, you both mark an element. But yeah, that's cool. So yeah, I think we'll see. While this exchange is going on, if we can see Summer Rain talking to Needlesight Zhao.
Yeah, if I've received the kind of assistance from Jade Eagle to go over and kind of Zhao is like stuck in the tree, like head down, and I think I reach up and like take his bow from him, and I say, Zhao, you and I know that you have studied not only the way of the bow, but the way of honor and righteousness. Our teacher has lost the path. Perhaps we can bring him back, but we must do so together. Will you stand with me? I want to roll Blade Heart.
Yep, by all means.
And yeah, honestly, I think this is fire, right? This is a passionate appeal here.
Yep.
Okay, I rolled a 6. And just so everybody knows, on a fail, they fool you with a seeming change of heart. So that's on the table. I'm not going to spend a bond to fix that because that is beautiful dramatically. But if someone else wants to leap in, it's possible. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I think he will sigh and say, "Sister, Master Standing Pine has I should not have done it, but I discovered where he keeps the secret techniques. He has a secret chamber, and I will lead you there if what you say is true."
Then that is where we must go. And who's still here as far as PCs?
So Jade Eagle is still there with you, and I'm assuming when he looks around, he finds that Rising Phoenix is no longer there.
Oh, I'm definitely not there anymore, but we can hold off on my move for a moment.
Yeah, and I turn around and I thought she was literally right behind me and gone.
I've mocked up one of the statues to make it look like me for a second. And
Unbending Steel, Jade Eagle, will you go with us? We know of a weakness of Master Standing Pine, and perhaps we can catch him unawares so that he will answer our questions and, heavens willing, return to the light.
Unbending Steel?
Yeah.
You made a promise to me that you would protect my sister. There's been one attempt on her life already today. If it is amenable to all of us, I will go with Summer Rain and Needle Sight Zhao, and I would hope that you would hold up your promise.
Yes. I will find your sister and I will make sure she is safe.
Thank you.
Excellent. And I think this is where we cut from. Meanwhile, and let's see what Rising Phoenix gets up to.
yeah, so my move is well, it's supposed to be his name is Nobody, but I changed it. Her name is Nobody. And when you deliberately head off alone into a dangerous situation, I'm pursuing number one scholar, which I keep in my mind thinking is one number scholar, which makes no sense. I'm going to do this with fire because it is passion. Here we go. Identical roll. 4, 5, 7. That is a 9, and I'm going to burn my bond with the Heavenly Bough School as I use my intimate knowledge of the grounds to make that a 10 plus.
Excellent. So yes, on a 10 plus, you're ready for the challenge. Take +1 forward. So, I think as you I think as you reach the as you reach her chambers, she is waiting there, and you can tell as you get in here, as sort of you approach and find her, you know she's prepared to fight. She looks you in the eye and says, "My master has told me what you have done, Rising Phoenix. You must know that I cannot let this offense to our family lie. I must face you now." And sort of her hand goes to the hilt of her sword. What do you do?
I'm gonna try and aim for hearts and minds here. No, you are mistaken. Standing Pines has lied to you. He is the one who uses dark techniques. He has polluted your mind. If only you could see as I saw at the wherever I was, Hall of the Seven Cascades. He single-handedly murdered everyone.
Brilliant, yeah. And you roll with hearts and minds, and get to use whichever stat you feel appropriate. This definitely feels like a fire, but you know,
I think it feels like fire. Rising Phoenix is fire all the time. Here we go. As an 8, as a 9, 10.
Perfect. They bow to your words and do what you want. So, her hand moves away from the hilt of her sword, and she takes 2 steps forward and clutches your hands in hers, and says, I did not want to believe it, but since you have gone from this place, I do not know what has come over the master that he would do such, that he would lie about such a thing. But I can see the truth in your eyes that I could not in his. I am sorry that I doubted you.
It's okay. Quickly. We must get away from this place.
Yes, I think you are right. It is not safe for us to be here.
Is that about the time when Unbending Steel shows up? Or
yeah, that's
Yep.
probably yeah when Unbending Steel arrives.
And so I immediately I draw my sword because I don't know exactly what's going on. Like I'm ready to go, right? But then I see them talking, and I see basically Rising Phoenix comforting her and saying something to her, and I ask what are we to do? Where we must find out from the master what what his intentions were, but we must also keep you safe, Rising Phoenix. I'm in conflict. I don't know if betraying my master is just staying here and asking the questions we need to ask, or if we should leave from this place.
No. Standing Pine must fall. It is the only way to be sure. Where are the others?
They went to confront the master, and
By
I thought to
themselves?
follow them. Well, I mean, there were three of them, and we. I promised your brother I'd keep you safe. You know this, and so I came after. I came to make sure you were safe because I need to keep that promise.
I don't know that, and that pisses me off.
Oh yeah. I assumed you knew. I get all flustered because like I feel like now he's like you know, he's starting to blush, and he's like kind of, you know, losing his like ability to like, you know, try to keep his cool and not show his emotions here.
Yeah, that's definitely sounds like an inner conflict to me.
Okay. I feel like I would be trying to stay calm here. Yeah, I think maybe I think I might be rolling with. Jeez, I can't do cautious because I've got birthmark. I maybe just fire because I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to think quickly without making myself sound worse than I already am sounding. So yeah, I'll roll with fire, which is a -1. And that'll bring it down to a 5.
Excellent. So I think I'm going to ask you to mark fire, and
definitely scattered.
Yeah, and number one scholar says, "Yes, come. There is no time to lose. If they face him alone, we must go and see that our and she'll kind of glance to Rising Phoenix and say, we must see to it that our siblings are safe." And she will kind of tug at Rising Phoenix's hand, and when she thinks that Unbending Steel isn't looking, obviously he does notice it, she just leans in and plants a gentle kiss on Rising Phoenix's cheek.
And I kind of step up like I mean to say something, and I'm like, and then I just kind of, it's one of those shots where he's like, and he just kind of steps behind Rising Phoenix to kind of like, he's already embarrassed himself enough, and he just wants to like get this moment over with and done, so he can, you know, focus on some sort of mission.
How did that kill Greg?
You what?
No, sorry, you look like you'd frozen on my screen.
No. Sorry. Really good at holding still.
Yeah, no, yeah, it faded to grey on my screen, but that's cool. So yeah, and I think with that, so if people are okay, I think I'm just going to press on. If anyone does need to take a quick break now, feel free to do so. But otherwise, I'll just keep us rolling. Yeah, I think we will. I think like names. Needle Sight Zhao leads you on a slightly circuitous route to this purportedly hidden chamber, but you realize as he leads you into this room, Master Standing Pine is waiting for you, and just as you're sort of coming in from that door, through the other door, the other three of you will appear. So we said we'll be well. How visit is so. Master Standing Pine is higher. Scale than all of you. So you will not be able to defeat him alone. However, by working together, you'll be able to kind of whittle him down and tip the battle in your favor. So I'll essentially have you all kind of you can do what you think would be an appropriate thing for your character to do. If you engage him in a duel, for instance, if like engaging him in a duel, like the first person may lose, but that we're I'll sort of do it as a bit of an attrition thing and give everyone a chance to leap in and do some stuff.
What does the space look like as we walk in?
So I think it is in fact it is a sort of hidden chamber as oh no, it's not even a hidden chamber. He's led down. It's a sort of it's actually like a hidden garden where there is a stream running through it and going down over the edge of the mountain and sort of down into a little waterfall. There's trees around here, and again the floor is sort of carpeted in fallen leaves. There is one of those sort of deer scarers that clacks up and down every now and then from one of the little springs that comes down. There's some more statuary here, though each of these statues is of a person. You don't recognize any of them, but they're all dressed in kind of formal robes, much like Master Pine wears. These may be his predecessors here.
Is it just him waiting there? Are any of the other students around? Like what?
It's just him here. Yeah. I think that there's the other students seem to be have been dispersed or dispatched somewhere.
Master Standing Pine.
Summer rain.
I spoke to Rising Phoenix like you asked. She had a very interesting story about the Hall of the Seven Cascades and about my mother. Is it true?
I see little reason to deceive you any longer. Yes, it is true. I killed them. I killed her. Had they been stronger, they would have stood against me. There is only space for one true master in the Wulin, and that will be me.
Yeah, I've like gone into like gunfighter psych out mode, where like my hand is like drifting towards my bow. But if someone else is going to act first, they're really welcome to. Like as a player, I don't want to steal all the oxygen, and someone else can do something before Summer Rain tries something.
I don't think Jade Eagle would step in yet, because he is not he's further removed from Heavenly Bough. I'm trying to decide if he would say something though, but I think he might wait. He's definitely watching. He's like keeping a close eye on Summer Rain, like trying to discern what she's feeling and what she's thinking and what she's going to do. And I think he sees her hand like clutching her bow, and I think we would see like there'd be like a close-up of his like fist around his sword staff and like his knuckles turning white as he grips it tighter. But I don't know if he would move first.
Are you studying me with the study move?
Oh, that is a really good question. I'm definitely studying the situation. Yeah, definitely studying the situation. So I'm studying with can't with patience anymore. So probably calculation, which is I'm not good at. Yes. That is a 4.
Okay.
We did bring a traitor with us.
I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask you, Jade Eagle. What do you notice about the situation that makes it more dangerous than you originally thought?
I kind of want to do something like it has been stacked against us. Get casting blaze in there. Oh shit. Yeah. Okay, I gotta go with Alexi's suggestion that casting blaze. I think casting blaze like literally like steps out of the shadows. Casting blaze like steps out of the shadows in the corner, and she is wearing the same sort of like assassination gear that Needle Sight Zhao is wearing. I think casting blaze is like a master of poisons in some capacity, and so I'm very concerned to see her on his side.
Brilliant. Yeah. I think as she steps out, you see some long, thin needles grasped between her fingers. Excellent. So does anyone else want to act? Does Rising Phoenix want to kick things off?
Sure. Maybe just as she appears out of the shadows, so does Rising Phoenix. And Rising Phoenix immediately grabs like a tapestry off the wall and starts spinning it up in her arms, and is going to go in to take out Casting Blaze, because none of the boys are going to be able to do this. So is she my scale?
Yes, she will be. So yeah, and I think as you come in, she flicks her wrist, and one of the poison needles streaks towards you.
I catch it in part of the tapestry, and I spin around and flick it to the other side of the room, just to prove to her, and it goes like right into one of the statues, just to prove to her that I could have sent it right back at her, but I didn't.
Your style always did lack class. Rising Phoenix, she snips at you, and she launches another needle at you as you approach.
Ah, you mean the style of the Heavenly Bough School, which you are so familiar with. And she shoots another needle off to the other side. But you haven't seen my style yet. And at that point, the tapestry starts to burn, and she wraps it around herself as a cloak. And she like leaps forward at her.
Yeah, and I think that that she leaps back onto onto the top of one of the other statues and fires a third needle off at Rising Phoenix as you come in.
I think the heat around the cloak is so hot it actually like turns to cinders as it gets close.
Nice.
And she says, "You had to sacrifice nothing for your power." And she holds out her four-fingered hand. It's like, "I have but begun to sacrifice for mine." And I will like the tapestry pulls into two pieces, and she just starts swinging them, poi-like almost, as she's coming in at her, like in this whirlwind of fire, so she can't even see things. It's so bright.
Brilliant. And I think we'll get the dual move there, please.
I'm rolling plus fire. I'm rolling high, hopefully. That is a 10.
Perfect. So on a 10 plus, you win the conflict, and you may mark XP if you show mercy or let them escape.
I think for the interest of a further episode, we're going to let her escape to become a villain later.
Excellent. And you may also... I was going to say, you may also declare a shift in the fiction as well, a change of heart, impress someone, or shift in entanglement.
Ooh, okay. So I come at her, and she chickens out, and actually goes crashing out of a window and running off into the woods. And I will change, let's see... I will have proven to my brother that Casting Blaze is not worthy of his attention.
Nice. I like it. Cool. So yeah. And Master Standing Pine will say, "Weak. How disappointing. She proved most useful in taking down my enemies, but no stomach for true combat." And he shakes his head in a very disappointed fashion.
If anyone wants to engage Standing Pine, and wants to go first, feel free. I do think if no one else wants to, I think seeing yet another person get into a fight with his sister, Jade Eagle might finally be like, "No, I cannot stand this anymore," and charge forward.
Yeah, go for it. That sounds good. So yeah, I think as you come in, you've got like the sort of the bladed what's it? Words.
Pole arm.
And I think as you come in with it, Master Standing Pine just does one of those like half turn things, and the blade goes past him. Almost, his movement is like almost effortless. It seems like he hardly moves at all. You will have to do better than that, child, if you wish to defeat me.
Is he fighting unarmed as far as we can tell?
At the moment, he certainly has not drawn a weapon yet.
Amazing.
I think Jade Eagle, I think he says, because in our entanglements, Summer Rain, you had established that he'd killed someone close to me. And I think, I think Jade Eagle, kind of like writes himself after being parried. And he says, Standing Pine, I left your school after you slew Graven Green Saber. At the time, I honored you, though I could not study under you. I honored you and believed that you must have had a reason. Now I see the truth. You are a madman, and we must stop you.
I am not mad. You merely lack the wisdom to see my power. And his hand doesn't even quite touch you, but you can kind of feel that force pushing you back as you slam into one of the statues.
Yeah, I think I hit it. So I have no idea how to handle a duel with someone like higher scale than me. It should you let me know when I should roll, or do I even roll?
Yes, there is a role for it still. So yeah, no. Basically, we'll just handle it the same. You can still handle it as a just a sort of a fictional exchange for the time being.
I think Alexis wanted to do something though, real quick, in the chat.
Oh, can you?
Oh yeah. So I wanted to kind of, when I see him kind of go into the pillars and crash into the pillars, I'd like to just go in with the classic, fly out with my sword on the wire thing.
Yeah, no, that's great. So yeah, if you want to roll that move, the one thing as well I will point out that with this move, Legend of the Mountain, you do not have to use your style element for this one. So it's something that you can do even when your style element is blocked. It's combat related, but it's not specifically tied to your style element, just as this kind of a heads up for future use as well.
Okay. I think I will use my style element though in this case.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So let me roll that. Oh, shit. That's a 5.
Okay, yeah. So I think that what happens here is as you come in with the sword, Master Standing, you come in and he does block Master Standing Pine from going to him, but he just reaches out and grasps your wrist, Unbending Steel, with the sword in it, and he just twists. He will be marking your metal, though you obviously can choose to take that as a wound if you wish.
I will take that as a wound.
But yeah, you're sort of it breaks your wrist. You can feel the bones cracking, but you've still got some more fight in you. And I think with that, he'll kind of throw you aside, and
I think I turn to Needleside's Dow and I say, "We have to do this. Our teacher must be stopped. Come on, the clear sky downpour technique. with me.
Cool. Yeah, and I think as you go to perform your part of the technique, at the last moment he turns his bow back towards you and lets it shut, and he says, "Fool, I know which side will win this conflict, and it is not yours."
Youch. Can I try to just dodge the arrow?
Absolutely. Make me a roll the
Overcome.
Yep.
I thought so. Yeah. We're like, hopefully it's like I like turn just in time and like bend all the way back, and the arrow like flies forward, and we see like a strand of my hair like kind of like floating up, and the arrow just like slices that. But we'll see how well I do at this. I guess I am using speed here, so I'm rolling with fire.
Sure thing.
That's a 6. But you know what? Can I burn my standing pine bond on this since we were getting ready to attack him?
He's one of Standing Pine's lackeys, so yeah, that seems fair.
Okay. With my younger sibling move, it pushes it up to an 8.
Cool. So yeah, on an 8, there's a complication. So I think what happens? Okay, so no, I think that the complication is that you dodge the shot. It goes past you, but Needle Sight Zhao now has you pinned down. You can't sort of easily break away. Basically, to break away from him, you'll either have to try and just get out from underneath him by overcoming again, or actually duel him again. Though what I will say now is, if you do duel him again, he will count as being lesser scale than you, because you have already beaten him once.
Because I beat him once. Yeah, that works for me.
Cool. But yeah, so he'll sort of let loose with you, sort of dodge his like sneaky shot as he tries to catch you in the back. But yeah, he starts laying down more arrow, and so as you dodge behind some of these statues.
I'm dodging behind the statues, and they're like arrows sprouting from them as I do it. Yeah.
Cool. So I'm going to switch back to Jade Eagle for the moment. So as I say, you'd been sort of knocked back against this statue, and as he was sort of coming in for the second strike,
Unbending Steel
leapt in, and he's you saw him like break his wrist and fling him across the room into another one of the statues. But I think that Master Standing Pine is going to continue advancing on you. I think the thing that's most like unnerving about it is he's not kind of like gone into a fighting crouch. He's not in stance. He's just walking towards you like he was wandering down the street. And yeah, he comes in sort of as he gets sort of within just about what you'd reckon is striking distance for him. He's going to lunge forwards and come at you. What do you do?
I think I am trying to, like, he's lunging at me, and I think I'm going to try to use my rising ogre style to like take my staff and like parry and like almost wrap his arm up in my staff and like stab him in the side.
Needless to say, I didn't describe it, but he of course has the really long sleeves, robes that you could get that caught up in. Yeah, excellent. I think actually, yeah, we'll call for the dual move now. So when you roll to fight somebody who is above your scale, you will lose a conflict. But essentially, on a hit, you determine what that looks like as you lose the conflict.
Okay. So let's see. This is a 8, 9, 10. So I got 10.
10, perfect. So yeah, he will win this exchange with you. You suffer no downside to that other than the fact that you do not beat him. So
Yeah,
it looks.
I think so. Like I try to wrap up his arm and like get my blade in his eye, and I think I've successfully wrapped up his arm, but what he's actually done is like gotten a firm grip on my staff. And I think he just I think first he like slams me back into that statue again, like he pushes forward, and then he swings me aside and like I go flying across the room, probably like to land near Unbending Steel again, just like, and my staff goes like clattering to the ground next to me as I am just like thrown.
Brilliant, thank you. And Rising Phoenix, what are you doing as this is taking place?
So this is an underground kind of vault-ish area.
It's sort of, if you think of it as like almost as almost being like one of those like I'm almost picturing it like those sort of houses on like the Hollywood Hills where it's like
it's like
looking out over the valley, and exactly.
I just imagine this is all mostly in the evening, and there's torches, so I'm gonna roll with that. And I think at this point, Rising Phoenix has grabbed like a jar of the whatever lamp oil they would use to get between places, has drank it, and is going to breathe fire underneath wherever Needle Sight Zhao is. But I'd like to do this as an impress roll. I want to impress #1 scholar.
Sure thing. That works for me.
Everyone wants to impress her.
All right. So I think fire is the most literal thing we can be doing here. So
it's hard to justify a different stat when you're literally breathing fire.
Fire, yeah. And that is a 10 as well.
Perfect. So yeah, on the 10 you get to choose 2 options from the list. So create a bond, clear an element, or gain a favor.
I will gain a favor that that she will assist us. She's merely been present at this point, and she will actually actively assist us in fighting.
Standing Pine.
Standing Pine. Thank you. And then I will gain a bond with Summer Rain.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you've given Needlefoot Zhao the Needle Sight Zhao the hot foot with your fire breath. Is that right?
Yeah, and I might not be beneath her anymore.
Perhaps not. Yeah, I like run from where I was in cover and like kind of there's like a moment of eye contact and maybe like a small nod from me to you on that point on that. Because I want to stand beside my sister and try our like dual archer technique again. This time without the traitor in our midst.
Indeed, yes, you will absolutely be able to do that. Yeah, I think as you come in, the sort of it's not that she's been like It's not that she's been kind of. I think she's been up until this point. She's been kind of as much shocked as anything else because she wasn't expecting any of this. But like that seeing like all of you like coming together and fighting against this has kind of inspired her. And as you come in, she'll be raising her own bow, and she'll give you a little nod.
This wasn't how I expected to graduate from the Heavenly Bough School, but I'm glad you're at my side. And I will like notch like 4 arrows to the bow as we both start just like multi-shotting.
Cool. I think actually with that, I'm not even going to make you roll for the duel. You outmatch
Standing Pine.
Sorry, not Standing Pine. Sorry, is it Standing Pine you're going for rather than?
Yeah, I think we're taking that Needle Sight Zhao is distracted and we're going after the big boss.
Yep, that is fair. Okay. That's cool. Because I was going to say, I won't make you fight Zhao now because I think he's out of the picture. So
I mean, we can definitely pin him with arrows again just for flavor before we turn to Standing Pine.
Yeah. And I think as you unleash the storm of arrows towards Master Standing Pine, he just does the thing of just reaching up with one hand and catches one of the arrows and throws it at another of them, and there's kind of a whirlwind around him almost, and as these arrows are sort of shooting off in every direction as he deflects them. But I will have you. I will again have you make the duel roll against him. Again, at the moment, he still has scale on you, but we'll see how that goes for you.
Oh, it doesn't go well, I'm afraid. With my style element, it's a 4.
Ooh, yeah, that's. So I think. I think what's going to happen is he will, as you've been letting off this stream of arrows at him. So they'll be deflected backwards and forwards, and so on and so forth. But he will. One of the arrows he flings, and it will head directly for number 1 scholar's heart. Someone can intervene if they wish, but if this will kill her if it hits.
Anyone else want to intervene here?
Mechanically, what do I need to do? I need anything mechanically to intervene on this, or is this purely like narrative?
Mostly narrative here, unless there's something mechanically you wish to do. But just.
I think Alexis was about to say something.
Oh,
well, I mean it's cool because I was just thinking, as a way to, like, I'm trying to overcome my injury. Like I drop my sword when my wrist gets broken. But I feel like I'd want to try to pick up my sword and actually kind of throw it at Master Standing Pine, like just kind of fling my sword at him, like a spear almost.
Yeah, that sounds good. I will let you roll your what you call it, the mountain one again, Legend of the Mountain again, if you wish, because that's definitely applicable here.
Okay. So that is a 9, and then plus I add a element, right?
Yep.
And I feel like maybe I'd just be rolling with water here. because he's kind of aware that if he doesn't act fast, that the number one scholar will die.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's a 10. That's a 10.
Perfect. So on a hit, you keep them safe. So yeah, I think as you throw the sword, it splits the arrow in half down the middle. The two halves are dropping to the ground on either side of you, and you get to choose one from the following list: take control of something, change the location of the conflict, or gain a bond with the person protected. I will say here that I think probably one of the first two options at this point could allow you to bring Master Standing Pine's scale down, because you could probably do something that will put him at a significant disadvantage.
So maybe as I'm throwing the sword and it splits the arrow, stopping it from hitting her. You said we're in like some sort of garden, like a hidden.
That's right. There's
like a garden.
Yeah. Yes, it's a sort of semi-indoor garden with like trees and a little stream coming down through it and stuff, and these statues. Yeah.
So maybe it's kind of one of those simultaneous moves. I throw the sword, I do the flying punch thing, and it knocks Standing Pine through the wall into basically like another really wide open chamber of some sort.
Yeah. In fact, yeah. I think maybe actually it knocks him like off the edge of this like cliff, and there is like another plateau down below where like there's a pool that the waterfall collects in, and I think that blow actually takes him by surprise, and you hear I think he lands kind of on his feet, but he is down in this pool of water a good few feet down below you all, and he has quite literally at the moment now lost the high ground. So who wishes to take action against him?
I have a feeling that like it might be narratively appropriate for Rising Phoenix to take a go.
I'm all right with that. I think Rising Phoenix has sped out the rest of the lantern oil, and actually picks up Unbending Steel's blade, right? Because it clattered to the ground. She kisses number one scholar firmly as she jumps backwards off of the cliff and is going to mano-a-mano Standing Pine, and she just walks through with the blade cutting the grass as she's walking closer to the pool. Get up, old man. I won't kill you on your knees like you did to so many.
Yeah, and I think he is getting up onto one knee in the middle of this pool, and the pool as well has like the sort of the sort of the leaves from the trees in it, so it's kind of almost got that like orangey red tint to the water where there's so many leaves in there as he stands up, and says, "You always were a disappointing student. I have nothing to fear from you, child."
I was only disappointing when I was learning your poor techniques.
And he brings himself up to his full height again, absently brushes a leaf from his robes, and says, Your second master did not seem to find any fault in my technique as I watched him die.
you are mistaken about who was the true master of the Nine-Finger Way. And just narratively, I really feel like Unbending Steel needs a W here. So I want to like throw the sword upward as Unbending Steel grabs it in midair and brings it down on him. Is that cool?
That is very cool. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we both roll against scale to see if that works, or how do you want to?
You can. What I will say is, if you want to roll comfort and support on Unbending Steel,
Right.
Yeah, to kind of give him the boost.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that'll
All right, I'll roll it plus fire. Because this is creative. And that is another 10. Whew.
Yes.
They all line at the end here. All right. So I get to shoot.
When you on a hit, they may accept your words. They can clear a checked element or go into bond with you. On a 10+, you may additionally clear an element with yourself. You can basically also gain a bond with them, which you can then spend to assist them, essentially. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna spend that bond. I'm gonna get that bond and then burn it. Hit him Unbending Steel.
Okay. So which move am I actually rolling? Is it duel?
You're rolling duel here, okay. And he is now at your scale.
Got it. Okay. Six, 7. Yeah, that's a 7. No, that's a 8. Sorry, it's an 8.
8. Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
So on a 7 to 9, you can choose one. You can win at a cost, narrate your loss, or deadlock. So if you win at a cost, you will either mark an element, they escape, you lose face, or something else.
I'd like to win at a cost for sure. Like maybe I do go down and I hit him, and it comes down like on his shoulder or something. Maybe the same spot that he hit me with that little pinch move he did earlier. Yeah. And I catch him there, and but he manages to kind of knock me back with like a kick, and I fall back, and he he kind of gets off.
Yeah, and I think because he at this point, I think he staggers to his feet, and you can see he's woozy, and where you hit him in that nerve point, he sort of staggers and says, "You fools, I could have been the most powerful the Wulin has ever seen." And I think he kind of staggers backwards and falls off of the big waterfall, the one that's sort of like hundreds of feet down, and we just see his body falling down over the edge of the cliff. And that's where. Well, I think I believe Alexi said that they wanted to do.
Just before epilogues kick in, I want to comfort Jade Eagle, right? I don't know. Are you like standing and watching this final duel go down?
Yeah, I think he's like leaning against that, like the hole that was burst in the wall, like watching this happen, like holding his shoulder where he hurt something when he was thrown. Yeah, just kind of watching this happen.
Oh, this is great. I approach, and I put a hand on your shoulder, and I say, a wise person once told me that the fox will turn and fight for the rabbits when the forest is in need. But when the forest no longer is in need, could the fox find a foxhole to settle down in? So let me roll. Possibly with wisdom.
Oh, I was also going to ask: is this a comfort and support, or is this more of a hearts and minds? Maybe I'm open to either, but
I want to do comfort and support. I can see how it could go either way, but
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I like comfort and support.
Yeah.
Okay. That's an 8. Okay. So on a hit, they may accept your words. They can clear a checked element or gain a bond with you. I don't get my additional question they have to answer, though. Too bad.
Yeah.
Wait. No, I do. I have a bond with Jade Eagle. I can burn it for +2 because of my younger sibling move.
Excellent.
So I pushed it up to a 10 to add in like the question, just meeting Jade Eagle's eyes. Where will you go next with the school cleansed of evil?
Oh, sorry.
Could someone come with you?
I think Jade Eagle like looks back into Summer Rain's eyes, and he says, and then he looks around, and he says, "Well, it appears that this school may be in need of a master. Perhaps there is nowhere for you to need. Perhaps it is not that you will need to go anywhere, but that I should come back here."
And she smiles.
That's good.
Excellent. And yeah, I think with that we will roll credits, but we will of course have some brief post-credit scenes. So yeah, if we can get a little epilogue of each character, and either in the immediate aftermath of this whole thing, or maybe some years into the future, whichever you'd rather. And yeah, I will. This one I'll just do in character keeper order. So, Jade Eagle, I'll start with you, please.
I think we see Jade Eagle doing exactly what he said in that last scene, trying to figure out what is reparable in the Heavenly Bough School, what's worth saving and what needs to be cut away. And like we see him like helping to rebuild and like talking with other students. I think, I don't know if we see it, I don't know how we see it, but he is immensely concerned with Rising Phoenix. Like he's still concerned with Rising Phoenix. He's still worried about her and the path that she's going down. He's not convinced that she's not going down a dark path, despite like everything he's seen. He's still very worried about her. And with number one scholar being one of the good parts of the school, maybe, I don't know if Rising Phoenix ends up staying too or what happens, but yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. And Unbending Steel, what do we see of him?
I think in the aftermath of this, after the effects of the poem have kind of waned, he finds that he's blocked still. His fighting style is blocked, and he feels like he may never regain it. And he kind of wanders around for a bit, and then he comes across a monk who was in the Guardians of the Lotus Pavilion, that he basically finds comfort in his words and basically takes up the monk's robes and joins their order.
I like it a lot. Thank you very much. Summer Rain, what's the last we see of her?
Yeah, I think we see that kind of with the statue garden's been rebuilt, but like the main statue is now a statue of a dancer of loss, and Summer Rain is kind of like laying a bouquet at the feet of the statue. She kind of wipes away a tear and then like stands up and turns to face the class of new young students that are here, and she starts instructing them on their archery positions. And we see she's holding at her side that bow with the white and black inlaid designs of the lead scholar here.
That's brilliant, thank you. And last but not least, Rising Phoenix.
I think we see this like burned trail on the ground, and the autumn leaves are sort of like very, when like wet leaves and they burn, they very slowly turn to ash. And it's, as the camera pans up, you see the 2 feet of standing pine, and he's being dragged across the ground by Rising Phoenix, and she's admonishing him. You are a terrible student. Terrible. You didn't sell that at all. Only I can kill you. That's why I had to have Unbending Steel hit you. We will try again. We will try again.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, yeah, thanks everyone. That was a really good run. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I'm just going to stop the recording now.